Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about scuba gear, and in particular the gear that I use when I go diving. So in front of me here I have two scuba diving tanks. Both of them hold up to 3,000 psi of air, and each tank every year has to be inspected by a dive shop to make sure that it is still good to be used for diving. And basically they check inside the tank, make sure there's no mold, that kind of stuff. They check around the tank, make sure there's no damage, anything like that. Make sure there's no leaks, valves, and all that's all good. And then every 5 years they send it away to another factory where they actually do like a major clean inside the tank and clean any bacteria that may be in there or whatever the case may be. So each tank does weigh quite a bit. I don't know exactly how much it weighs, but with a full tank of air, it actually it's quite heavy. So like I said, the tanks hold 3,000 psi, and each tank will only give you one dive. Okay, and I would say on a dive, if you control your breathing, 3,000 psi could last you 45 minutes, maybe an hour. It depends how deep you go, etc. So yeah, these are the scuba tanks that I use. They come in many different colors, and I've chosen a blue and a black. When the dive shop has done its inspection on the 1 year, it'll give you a little sticker right here, and they'll stamp out the date and the year that you had it inspected. When you do the every 5-year major clean on them, the company that they send them to stamps a date on the tank here. It's pretty much engraved into the tank, so it cannot come off, letting you know when the last time you had a major clean on your tank. And in my case, 2016 is when I had mine done. So like I said, they're good for 5 years, so don't have to worry about these tanks. The other thing too is that you can buy these sleeves right here. They just slide on and off the tank, and it gives it a little bit more protection when you are moving your tanks from location to location, so that they don't get dinged up and scratched and damaged. This little mesh protection here does help tremendously, so highly recommend that you get one of these little mesh thingies. Regarding costs, to get a tank filled, you're looking at about $5 to get the tank filled. Some dive shops offer you like some kind of a deal where if you get 10 done with them, they'll give you one free, kind of thing. And in cost for buying a new tank, you could get a used one for about $150. But if you're looking at buying a brand new tank, I think you'll pay between $250 to $300 on the tank, depending where you are at the time of your purchase. So the prices do vary a lot. So let's move on to the next set of equipment that I have. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is this guy, which is your BCD, and that stands for Buoyancy Control Device. All right, you wear this pretty much on your body, and it helps you to stay buoyant in the water. So for example, if you are sinking, you put air into this and it raises you up. If you put too much air in, then you raise all the way to the surface. If you put hardly any air in, you'll sink to the bottom. So if you have just enough air in this, you stay buoyant in the water, and that way you can stay neutral when you're swimming or scuba diving under the water. I highly recommend, if you buy a BCD, that you buy one that has an integrated weight system inside. And I'll just give you an example here what I mean. You can put weights into this BCD right here. I have a whole bunch of weights in here. And the reason why you need weights is because it helps you to weigh yourself down. Because when you're wearing like a full piece wetsuit, or in my case, I have to wear a 14mm full body wetsuit, it's a little bit hard for you to sink to the bottom of the lake or ocean. So weights help you achieve that a lot easier. You can buy a waist belt as well if you don't have a BCD that has an integrated weight system. It just goes around your waist. I don't really like these. These tend to come undone under the water, and when you get deeper into your dive, it loosens up and then you have to retighten it when you get to the bottom. So I don't like them. I actually hate these. So I choose not to use it, and that's why I use an integrated weight system into my BCD. This right here is a safety stop anchor. All right, when I get to 15 feet before surfacing, I deploy this, and then it creates a dive flag for everyone who's above the water there to know that a diver will be surfacing in 15 minutes roughly. So I use that a lot. So let's move on to the next step here. Again, this is extremely heavy with all the weights. So to be a scuba diver, you have to be somewhat fit. I mean, it's even difficult for me sometimes because of all the weight that you have to carry. But it is fun. So regarding costs on a BCD, you probably could pick one up used for about $300. If you're gonna buy one brand new, you're looking at about between $500 to $700, depending on which one that you choose. All right, so we'll talk about the next set of gear here that I use and that everyone uses when scuba diving. Is a regulator. Now this part attaches to the top of the tank. This part will attach to your BCD, and you have your regulators right here. Every scuba regulator will have two regulators. One is your primary, and then the yellow one, which is usually yellow, is your secondary. The reason why you need a secondary, if you have any issues with this one when you're scuba diving, you have a backup. Not only that, if your dive buddy that you're diving with has issues with their gear, you can do a sharing step with them, allowing them to breathe off your air using your secondary regulator if need, okay? But it is really there for you in case you have any issues while diving. It's always best to have two, all right? You need a dive computer, okay, which is what I have on this rig. We have your air pressure here for the tanks, okay? It'll tell you how much air you have left in your tank. And mine has a compass. So compasses are used for getting you back to your location, maybe saying like the boat for an example, or finding your way back to maybe a wreck that you want to go back to. It's really good to have a compass on your gear. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so next thing I'm going to talk about is the wetsuit. And in my case, because I dive here in the cold lakes of Alberta, you need a 14 mil wetsuit, just because the water is really cold. Even if you dive in the middle of summer, the water can be extremely cold when you get to a depth of like 60 to 80 feet, for an example. So you have 7 mil full body, and you have a 7 mil half body right here. So you put both of them together, you got 14 millimeters of protection or layer in the core of your body is where you need it the most, as well as you have a hoodie that you'll wear as well, so that you can stay as much away from the cold water as possible. This will cost you about $450, but for sure it's recommended if you're going to be diving in cold water. So all right, so next thing you're going to need is obviously a mask, a snorkel, some flippers, boots, and gloves if you're going to be diving in cold water, as well as a flashlight so that you can be able to see what's under the water, because the deeper you go, the darker it gets, and a flashlight is needed. So one thing I forgot to mention regarding regulators, they have to be inspected once a year by a dive shop, just to make sure that everything is working correctly before you go diving. It's very important. Well, there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions regarding scuba diving, please contact me at caspertuyall@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer anyone's questions regarding what I've spoken about here today. If you are living in the Edmonton area, there are two places that I know of that are offering discovery scuba dives, and they are Ocean Sports and Northwest Scuba. Northwest Scuba does dives in a swimming pool every Wednesday night, and it's from roughly 7 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. And Ocean Sports does dives in a pool every Tuesday. So if you are interested in doing a discovery dive, they set you up with an instructor, and you spend the entire time with the instructor doing a dive in a swimming pool. They start you at about 3 feet of water, and then they move you to the deep end, which is probably like 9 feet or so. And just to give you an idea of what scuba diving is all about, and if it's for you before you take the course. The course does cost between $450 to about $600. I think it's gone up, and it's about a 2-weekend course, and some places may do a 3-weekend course. It really depends on the dive shop that you're going with. If you are thinking about doing a certification course on your vacation, I don't recommend that you do that, because it takes time away from your vacation while you're studying and doing your dives, your practice dives with the instructor. It'll save you a big headache, and it won't take away vacation time for you when you decide to get certified. The other thing that you have to look out for is the dive shop that you're getting certified at, is it a PADI certified dive shop? Most of them are. If you're going to a third world country, for an example, they may not be PADI certified. Therefore, if you get certified there, you may not be able to dive anywhere else in the world, because they will not recognize your certificate. So keep that in mind and make sure that you are getting certified at a PADI location. The dive shops that offer these discovery dives, they charge between $25 and $35 to do the discovery dive with you. It's totally worth every penny. They supply you all the gear that you need. You don't have to take anything there. You just show up and they will put everything on you. They will fit you for the gear that you need. And it's worth every penny. You'll have a great time with you, the kids, you know, the family. So highly recommend going for a discovery dive before you take the course, just to make sure that scuba diving is for you. I will put a link down below to the two dive shops that I have mentioned in the bottom of the description. Just click on them and I'll take you straight to their website, and you can go from there, give them a call and set up your discovery dive. Or give your nearest dive shop a call and see if they offer it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.